When people think of New York City, they might picture skyscrapers, a stroll through Central Park, or maybe even grabbing a perfect slice of pizza. But when people visit New York, they're bombarded with a number of questionable attractions which may or may not exemplify all those wonderful qualities of the city. From 4D movie rides, to a tour bus with 5 stars, out of 10, and even the Statue of Liberty, our symbol of freedom, counting all the money she's scammed by photobombing people's selfies and then demanding they pay her for appearing in the background. Now, most New Yorkers try and avoid these places like the plague, but certainly they must hold some value if tourists from all over the world come to visit them, right? Well, there's no way to know for sure unless I try them all myself. So naturally, I bought a pass which grants me access to nearly every tourist attraction in Manhattan. So that way we can find out what's worth it and what isn't. But the pass is only good for 1 day, which means I have to visit all 10 of the most popular attractions before the clock strikes midnight. Starting with the top of the Rock. Not that rock, but rather the observation deck at the top of 30 Rockefeller Plaza. Well, the view is straight up spectacular. I'm pretty sure you can see every single observation deck I'm going to be going to today. We have the Empire State Building, the Edge, and One World Trade Center. But this one stands out because they actually have 2 rides up here on top of the Rock. One of them is called the Beam, where for $25 extra, you can rise up on a spinning beam to recreate this famous photo taken back in 1932 when Rockefeller Center was under construction. And the other is called Skylift, where for $35 extra, you can spend 1 minute at a peak 3 stories higher to get basically an identical view to what you had before. I actually think this is like the same angle they used in Avengers Infinity War at the beginning of the movie when Hulk crashes down to Earth into the Sanctum. Most people assume that the Hulk is just CGI, but believe it or not, you can really see him walking around New York in real life, begging for tips from tourists in Times Square. So I think for the top of the Rock, the view is spectacular, so it's absolutely worth doing just for that. As for the rides on top, I think the Beam is pretty cool because it recreates the iconic photo, but the Skylift does seem like a bit of a tourist trap because you've already paid all that money to go to the top of the building, and then they make you pay $35 extra just to go up a little bit higher. All right, our next attraction is Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. It's kind of weird, when I showed up, the security guy was like, "You don't need to be checked by me, I don't need to x-ray your bag or anything," and I was just like, what if I brought a match? You know a thing or two about evil people throwing fire. This one's really good, actually. But where's Toto? I saw this figure and looked over and thought it was Helen Keller, but it turns out that's Helen Keller and that's Josephine Baker. Again, they're really not doing any favors to these people with their name card placements. We have Mark Zuckerberg here, and right next to it, it says Steve Jobs, and then it says Mark Zuckerberg by this man. I went to a horrible wax museum in Niagara Falls, and some of their figures actually were not wax. The Obamas, I think, were the worst. These are so much better. This is pretty cool. They gave Andy Cohen a set. We're gonna play Plead the Fifth, except you're wax and you can't actually ask me anything. I think this Jimmy Fallon is worse than the Jimmy Fallon at the entrance. Fun fact, many, many years ago, Wendy Williams actually talked about me during Hot Topics on the show. Actually, we're not gonna insert that clip because she said mean things about me. At first, I thought this was supposed to be the Titanic boat. Not like the actual Titanic, the rescue boat. I thought that was Rose and Jack, but I was severely wrong. It's not Christmas, but it's a really nice figure. Really, really good. Wow. Willy Wonka himself. Hi, Timothy. People say me and Harry look alike. What do you think? So the Wax Museum ends with a 4D movie themed to Marvel. And outside it says mind-blowing special effects, but literally I just watched it. The special effects are some of the worst I have ever seen, but honestly, the Wax Museum is really good. If you take a picture with them, I don't think it's gonna fool anyone because their eyes are always looking in the wrong direction. It's still fun. I had a great time. All right, our next attraction is called Rise New York. And allegedly this is kind of like the Soarin' ride at Disney, except instead it's flying over New York City. I love that ride at Disney, so we'll see what this knockoff is like. Now, unlike at Disney, where you start with a pre-show talking about the safety rules, here they showed us a documentary about New York that abruptly transformed into a working train station.
Stand clear of the open doors, please.
I wasn't expecting a still movie before the flying movie, so now I'm quite behind on my schedule. But this is cool. It's kind of like the theme park version of the subway. It'd be more cool if we weren't like in New York City where you can board a subway at any time, but you know, it's still fun. Maybe most of the tourists here are taking cabs and stuff. They're not brave enough to take the subway. Some of them acted like they had never set foot in one before. Where are we going? Apparently we have the Friends couch for some reason. I really thought I was gonna be in and out of this place in like 15 minutes, but I'm not complaining because this is a pretty neat museum.
20 minutes later.
Okay, this way to film. I think I finally made it. Oh, I thought I made it to the movie, but now it says we're gonna see more things about movies before seeing the actual movie.
We got a freight elevator for you, and it's right this way, Devontae. Show them the way.
Haunted Mansion elevator vibes. Apparently you can usually go outside and step on the balcony of their fake torch, but due to slippery weather, we're not gonna be able to do that today. It is clearly bright and sunny outside, but that was fun. It was exactly the same ride system as Soarin', right down to like tug on the yellow tab to make sure you're buckled in with the seatbelt. This one was definitely worth it. Okay, the next attraction on the list is a picnic lunch in Central Park. I was planning to walk, but that took so long that I have to take the subway in order to make all the attractions today. I was so focused on making it there in time that I ended up boarding the wrong train, delaying me even further. I have acquired my picnic materials, which was actually included with the pass, and now I just have to find a lovely spot to enjoy the picnic within Central Park. It's funny, I invited one of my friends to join me today and she said, "I'm sorry, Matthew, it's just too many attractions." It seems like everywhere you look here, there's just something crazy happening. I just had to abandon my picnic because the world's largest pacer test was taking place on that lawn. But it's probably a good thing I left because I've got a lot to get to. Okay, now I've made it to the American Museum of Natural History. Now, obviously the museum is home to a lot of natural history, hence the name, but there's also quite a bit of pop culture history associated with this museum. Here you can find the actual T-Rex from the Jurassic Park poster. I actually got chills looking at those teeth. So scary. The shark from the Jaws poster is also here, as well as the fact that this is of course the museum from Night at the Museum. I was hoping there wouldn't be a line, but unfortunately there is. I know you from the movie.
Go! Dum Dum,
Yes?
you give me Gum Gum.
I give you Gum Gum?
You do Dum Dum, you give me Gum Gum.
Look at that smile. Wow. He must have died really happy. Now I've seen some pretty big skeletons here, but I think this one's the biggest of the big. It's so big that it comes outside the room. I don't know how they get those big dinosaurs up the stairs here. I mean, do they get all the fossils and then just construct them here at the museum? It's a lot of work. All right, and next stop is the World Observatory at the top of the World Trade Center. Apparently this observation deck's not so popular because I have the whole thing, the entire elevator to myself. This one's off to a little bit of a weird start as they have fabric blocking the windows so you cannot see the view from the observation deck. What is the point of that? I wanted to look on top of that building. I see. They wanted to save the view for a dramatic reveal. Okay, it definitely has a great vantage point to see Lower Manhattan, Brooklyn, and I guess New Jersey, although there's really not much to look at there. I will say, the top of the rock did have better views overall, with it being outdoors in Midtown Manhattan with Central Park. But I really do like this skyscraper. I think its design is stunning. It's easily one of the best looking towers in the city. However, for this observation deck, they lure in tourists by saying that you're going up the tallest building in the Western Hemisphere, which is true only if you count the spire on top that adds an additional 408 feet. Without that, it's not even the tallest building in New York. Goodbye, One World Trade Center. Okay, now we're back here in Times Square to do something that I actually can't believe is free, getting my face on a Times Square billboard. Normally, it's a major tourist trap where you'd have to pay around $150 just to have your picture displayed for 15 seconds per hour. But allegedly right now, anyone can have their photo displayed on the giant T-Mobile billboard at no cost, simply by scanning that giant QR code and submitting a selfie. Now, to be clear, this is not sponsored or part of the attractions pass I bought. I actually don't even know if this is gonna work. Okay, I got a notification that my photo is processing, so in the meantime, I'm gonna dip into the ride. I think we'll be able to get a pretty unique perspective of the city as we tour around, so I'm excited. You remember how earlier I was mentioning how walking around New York, it seems like there's always something crazy happening? Well, for this ride bus, to guarantee that everyone on board sees something crazy, they just completely staged a bunch of singers and dancers along the route to perform as the bus drives by. Every few blocks, there's just some person cosplaying as a construction worker or a UPS driver who just breaks out in song or dance suspiciously synced with the music inside the bus. And the tour guides are like, only in New York.
Only in New York, I guess.
Yeah, I know, only in New York. That makes sense, actually. You know what? Hip-hop was started right here in New York City.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, it really wasn't much of a tour, and in this city, you don't need to pay for a bus to see street performers, especially when your view is blocked by a pole half the time. So I have to deem this tourist trap a must-skip. Now, while I was in there, they rejected my Times Square billboard photo. They said that you can't have characters visible in the shot. I guess I'll have to edit them out and then come back another day. Wait, what if I also edit in a thing that says subscribe to Matthew Abels in the background? Because, I mean, this is the busiest intersection of America. If I can have a free ad to subscribe to Matthew Abels in Times Square, who knows what'll happen to my channel. If it works out, I'll insert the footage here.
1 week later.
Oh my gosh. Wait, that's literally me in Times Square. Do you see this? That's crazy. My face was next to Gordon Ramsay, Beyonce, Lindsay Lohan, but as soon as my picture went up, these robots appeared out of nowhere and started doing tricks, stealing attention away from the billboard. Yet still, some people did notice and were zooming in on my message to subscribe. And the results are in. I gained a whopping 11 subscribers. And now back to me a week ago. Okay, next up for dinner is the #1 most touristy pizza spot, Joe's Pizza. It appears that all the wax figures we saw earlier have eaten here, and now it's gonna be my turn, after I wait in this extremely long line. I've had a lot of pizza in New York. This is definitely the best, in my personal opinion. Absolutely fantastic. All right, now I'm speeding to try and make the speedboat that goes to see the Statue of Liberty. But there isn't actually a subway line that goes directly from here to the pier. So I think my fastest option to get there before it leaves is actually riding a city bike. It's supposedly a 7-minute ride. This is definitely the fastest way to get around in New York City. Just took off my microphone in case we get splashed. I hope we don't get too wet. I got wet! Wow. Damn. Oh my gosh, my reservation at the Edge observation deck on top of that building is in 10 minutes. And it's a 20-minute walk. I'm truly speed walking to the max here to make it in time. I've beat the Google Maps walking time estimate by almost double, so that's good. Okay, now this might be the best view yet. I mean, do you see this? Apparently this is the tallest observation deck of all the ones I've been to so far today, but only by 3 feet. This is just 3 feet higher than the One World Trade Center deck, but I must say, I like this one a lot more because not only is it outdoors, but the perspective is just so unique. I love that I've just been casually hanging out down here, and I'd say down here because I looked up and there are people hanging off the edge of the building. So I am down here compared to them. And now I'll make my way to our final and possibly most iconic stop of the day, the Empire State Building. But first we have to go down the longest escalator in the entire city. Apparently this is the #1 attraction in the world. That's where King Kong was. You can get a $100 King Kong on top of Empire State Building, 3D printed figurine. Personally, I think they should sell a King Kong experience package where you go to the antenna and hang off the top like King Kong. I would pay for that. I don't know how much I'd pay. But even the fact that they have a photo op in the lobby signals to me that it's a good idea. It's definitely touristy, but I mean, this night view is pretty insane. It's also the Empire freaking State Building. I mean, you would think this giant guardrail would be like a major distraction for the view, but actually doesn't really impact it too much. It's still really good. The city sort of feels like a giant snow globe from up here. See, at the top of the rock, this costs 50 cents, but here, absolutely free. Well, I did it. I managed to visit all 10 of the most popular tourist traps in New York City. The only ones I really would not recommend are the ride and the One World Trade Center observation deck. But everything else I found to be great fun. So thank you for watching, and as always, I hope you'll subscribe to join me on my next adventure.